everyone can see. There's nothing confidential that we're speaking about. At the end of the class, when people are asking me their personal questions, we turn this off. So need to know. You remember our need to know? We see it. It's powered by the U, and it looks like I see all your faces. Okay. Content is run. Okay, everybody's getting their screens on. Any questions before we begin? What's good here is that I have Audrey, she's manning the chat, and Audrey will let me know, right? You'll unmic yourself and let me know if there's something special or people don't understand what's happening. Okay? Because it's important. We're going to go through a lot. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully everybody has gotten their camera on. Camera's required in this class unless you get special permission, right? We need to identify everyone and make sure that everyone is used to it. Okay, share my screen. Let's go. Get my Zoom going. Everybody see that we're getting, certain people are online. I went to my Zoom meetings. We'll take attendance later on. So let's go to what's due. That's always the part that we always go to. What's due, what's due, what's due. We know today is Wednesday, February 21st. I can't believe it. In 2 weeks, we have an exam. So last Monday on the 19th, we were doing data. And so the whole idea, what you need to make sure that you read is the basics of algorithmic trading. And if I go and I click in a tab here, let's see. You need to read this. The exam is going to be 2 parts, folks. The exam will be like the multiple choice on the quizzes that you have, and there'll be open-ended questions. I'll give you the possible open-ended questions. I'll give you about 4 open-ended questions. I'll choose 2 of those. And you see here, for instance, the basics of algorithmic trading. Let me turn it on.
Ask. Algorithmic trading is the process of using computers programmed to follow a defined set of instructions for placing trades in order to generate profits at a speed and frequency that are beyond a person's capability. For example, suppose a trader wants to follow 2 simple trade criteria. 1, buy 50 shares of a stock when its 50-day moving average crosses above its 200-day moving average. 2, and sell the stock when its 50-day moving average goes below the 200-day moving average. A computer program can follow those instructions, as well as monitor the prices, and then place the orders when the conditions are met. The trader doesn't have to do it. The algorithm trading system does it. Algo trading provides many benefits. Trades are executed at the best possible prices, as well as instantly and accurately. Transaction costs and the risk of manual error are reduced, and algorithms can be back-tested on historical data to gauge how they'll work in current conditions. Most algo trading is high-frequency trading, which attempts to capitalize on placing a large number of orders at very fast speeds across multiple markets. There are many strategies, most of which follow trends in moving averages, channel breakouts, price level movements, and other technical indicators. Risks include system failures or network connectivity issues. There may be time lags between orders and execution, and an algorithm can be imperfect. The more complex the algorithm, the more backtesting it requires. Despite the risks, analytical traders should consider learning algorithm programming.
Perfect. So we'll talk about that algorithmic trading because we want to talk about data and what we can do with data. So read this article. You can think about it of what is algorithmic trading. We talked about it using a defined set of instructions. Remember, an algorithm was a way in which you're going to follow a set of instructions to place a trade. The whole idea of algorithm is to basically, when do I enter a trade? When do I exit a trade? And it's going to be based on timing. It's going to be based on mathematical models. How does it work? And you can see here the advantages and disadvantages of it. And you can think about it, Samuel, as one of the questions that could be is basically, what are algorithmic tradings? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And from your experience in the exercises, show 3 examples of this, right? So this is basically, you can think of the different trading strategies, and you can go through this. Okay. So this you should have looked at last time. If you didn't, I suggest you look at it on next time we meet and consider these questions. What is automated trading systems? What are the pros and cons? For Monday, chapter 4 is due, which is dealing with security. That will be the last chapter from the readings that we will do before the exam. So you can concentrate on the exercises as well. And there's a couple of articles that I would like you to add. Is what is backtesting? And backtesting is dealing with historical data and being able to implement a strategy and asking yourself, what if I implemented that strategy, how well I would do? What is optimization? That'll be our second exercise we will do after this. And what is a simple moving average? What is its purpose? And we a lot of times talk about a fast moving average and how does it differ from a slow moving average. So if I looked in a new tab, what we would have then is, what you need to understand is what is a moving average. You can go through this as well, and you'll be able to go through this of what is a moving average. So the idea, do you have any idea of what is a moving average, Samuel? Have you ever even heard of a moving average?
An average that moves when you have more information given? I have no idea.
Right. You know what an average is, of course. If you said, on the exams, I got an 80, 90, and 100, and they were all equally weighted, you know that your average would be 90. No big shakes, right? So basically, we're thinking about a moving average, and it's commonly used in technical analysis. It's a way to help smooth the data. So what they do is, I say I have a 10-day moving average. Every 10 days, it takes the average of it and then moves again every 10 days. 50-day moving average would be what, Samuel? Every 50 days, it would take the average and then move across. So it smooths the data. That's what the moving average is, and you need to understand that. Okay? So if I go back here, this is what you need to do this by Monday. So can you do me a favor, Spencer? You there?
Yeah.
Spencer, from section H1 for next Wednesday, there's an assignment due. Can you copy that and put that in the assignment for this one, for the what's due?
Mhm.
Somehow that wasn't copied. So while we're doing that, thank you, Spencer. So, and if you have problems finding it, let me know. Okay. So let's do an exercise here, and then I'll go through it with you. And also I need to get the audit area too, right? So let me make sure I have my courses. I'm logging in. To courses. And I want to find my J audit right on the top. And under if I go to groups, and you go to group 0A, everybody, we've done the Zoom already. We did the screencasting. Each group, you can even do this tonight if you'd like, is you need to, each group on its own, for each group, you need to have a folder called Trading Strategy. And under Trading Strategy, we're going to have a couple of assignments. Our first assignment will be on what we call back testing. So you'll have another folder called back testing, and here you'll demonstrate how do you do back testing using NinjaTrader. When we're going to be doing this back testing exercise, it's basically each person will take another symbol. So the only difference here, well, really, you can do this on your own, but you can help each other. But each student, so here you see Dylan and Spencer. Dylan had NDVA, and his overall performance was 57, and he gave the date. So this is what you need to have in the underneath your back testing. And then you'll have each person then will have, you'll see Dylan Melnick, SMA crossover 1025. This is the strategy we're going to use. We're going to back test it. We're going to attach an Excel spreadsheet to it. And you'll also put what ticker you use, what strategy you use. Everybody in the first one will use the same strategy, SMA crossover 1025, and look at your net profit. In this case, you'll look at what it was your overall net profit, what was your long, and what was your short. Notice the short here is negative, and then what was the data range? So it was from, in this case, what was the data range and the ways to improve this to get a better overall percentage. And in this case, since it was negative, we could probably just take out the shorts, and we can do that. So this is what the assignment is going to be for next Wednesday. And you'll see here, you can look in the example, what Dylan did for his example. Okay, so this is where we're going today. All right, so let's do this. Everybody go. I think the best way, Audria, is if people can follow along with me. If they get stuck, I don't want to spend so much time on it, but I think you may let them know the more that they do, it more sinks in. And I'll try to go my best through it, but to give you a view of it. So what we need to do is we need to use NinjaTrader. I'm going to be using the virtual desktop that we have the privilege of using for my students. But to let you know that NinjaTrader is also installed. Let me just put it right here. NinjaTrader is installed in SBA, the School of Business, room 204, in the PC labs, in the back lab in there. So if you want, somehow you say, I can't get in, I don't have this, or whatever you want to sit, you can always use that. But we're going to use the virtual desktop. So everybody go to web links. We go to web links. And under web links, we're going to use the first web link, which is virtual desktop access to NinjaTrader 64-bit. We said that before, and I'm going to open it up. I'll open it up in a new window. You can open it up any way you want, in another tab or whatever. And this is Azure. Azure is the cloud service by Microsoft. Virtual desktop, everybody has their student. Virtual desktop will access the local resources, I'll say allow. It's connecting me to a server. Do I know where the server is? No, but I know that it's basically provided by Microsoft, and I know that the University of Miami set up for our class. Everybody has their own area on the server using their credentials. So put in your credentials and it should be there. And notice it says Rushanek and it's applying my own. It should be preparing Windows for you. So your screen will look different, but the one thing that is in common is what? That you all should have NinjaTrader 8. So it's coming up. It's a Windows operating system. So it's a way, I like this exercise for us to review the concepts that we learned in the class, but we bring it to life. If I don't have this operating system of Windows, how can I get that operating system? One way is to get a virtual connection. We'll see what the problems are too, that it could be, again, more and more outside my control, and it may be slower. We know that we're going to use NinjaTrader 8. Another thing, let me point that out, and Audrey, you may want to send that out to everyone and make sure that if you're using a Mac, you're better off using Chrome when you're doing virtual this VDI, because some of them, it doesn't work quite the same. When I say right click or something like that, it won't work as well.
Someone asked what's the difference between NinjaTrader 8 and NinjaTrader 8 64-bit?
The one that doesn't say anything, excellent, thank you. The other one is 32-bit and it just doesn't say it. So we're going to use the 64 because remember, we want to have more memory. Remember how we talked about RAM and putting all our data in, so we have more room to analyze our data. Excellent question. It's like we rehearsed it, Audrey. Look how quickly we do that. We can make a team. We can do a podcast together soon. Okay, so we got NinjaTrader 8 64-bit. And I like to just open it, right click and open. Because sometimes I don't know, it's like slow. The latency is strong. So I just like to right click and say open. You can try different ways. And I'm always waiting. I never know. And it says simulated trading. And here I get an error. They haven't set this up correctly. I'm not surprised, right? They don't set it up correctly, but I'm just going to ignore it. So if you get an error, just tell everybody if there's an error there, just say, okay, I'm okay with the error. Because if we were actually trading, we're using simulated, hopefully this will work. And notice it's kind of slow and it comes up with kind of, it's trying to give me, notice it kind of did like little screencasts. Remember how we were doing it? I don't want to see that. Because right now, if you want to see it on your own, you're welcome to it. And just pay attention. Down at the bottom here, you see where my cursor is? There is already, it says control center orders. So I will get a lot of, it's confusing sometimes, especially when I'm working in a virtual way. I will get different panes of NinjaTrader. This is my beginning pane. And this is the key. We're talking about data, data, data. So if I'm talking about data, 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 Roberto, what's the first thing? How do I get data in this NinjaTrader?
Like you need an input.
I need connections. I always have to go to connections to get the data strategy. I need to go to end of day, and I need to go to kinetic end of day to get the data feed. Make sense, Roberto?
Yeah.
Some platforms, Roberto, automatically give you data, which that's why I like some of the other platforms, but this one doesn't. This one says plain vanilla. You can configure it to other places. So I go to end of day. So you want to make sure, Julia, with your group that you make sure that everybody has clicked end of day data, or else you won't be able to do the assignment. And if they say, I can't get data, Julia, you'll actually immediately say, look on the lower left-hand corner to see if you see a green ball. If you don't see a green ball, you know you're not connected. Perfect. So in this case, Ryan, what I want to do is I want to go to a new chart. I can do a way in which I can do many different things, but I want to go to a new chart. Now, one of the other things in going to a new chart, I need to pick a symbol. Now, you can pick any symbol you want. The only qualification for your assignments is that you need to pick everybody in the group needs to pick a different symbol. That way, to see how different the same strategy works in different symbols. So in this case, it has things that I've done in the past. It also, you can go to the Dow 30, what I suggest, or you can go to NASDAQ 100, or you can go to the S&P 500. You choose whatever you'd like. So if you go to the Dow 30, I could go to IBM. You could, and you should pick something that'll be different for it. The other thing about data is what type of data I have, and that's where I have my properties. So you want to make sure, in this case, Ryan, when I've chosen my symbol, that I make sure that I have end of day. The data type is end of day. Sometimes by default, it may say minute, it may say tick. So all you have to do is make sure, why am I doing end of day? Because that's the connection I chose. It's simple. Do they always do that, Julia? No. A lot of times they'll do by minute or they'll do by tick. But for us, we're doing simplified. Right? And I can see in this case, I see that this has this, I have it set. And I can have it set to any way I want, where I have my part. Questions? So now I can say, okay. And I'm going to expand this. And this is IBM stock. So if I were sitting with Julia here, right? And this is future, Julia, real time or historical data. A, future. B, real time. C, historical. What do you think, Julia?
Is it real time?
It says end of day.
Historical.
Exactly. I love it, Julia. You correct yourself, right? You think about it, and that's what we're learning in this class is nobody has all the answers, but what I want is people to think, right? Once they think about it, think about what you're saying. So the same kind of questions I would, and you can see here that if I thought to ourselves in the past, on 1024, Julia, if we, I could say, you know, Julia, let's invest in 1024 in IBM, and let's get out on 1211. Did we make money or lose money? Had we made that trade?
Make money?
Yeah. We started at this amount, right? And we went to this amount. Of course we made money. But if I said, you know, Julia, at this point, I said on 921, I said, you know, Julia, it looked like it went up. I think IBM is going to go up in the short term. let's invest here. And then I say, look, how's it doing? As soon as we get in, what's it look like it's doing? What's the trend? Going down or going up?
Going down.
Going down. And then all of a sudden I get nervous. And I said, Julia, get me out. Get me out. Let's get out of this. Did we lose money or make money? We were losers. This is basically the raw data in the past that we haven't done any strategies. There's something called a technical indicator. And what we have is basically a technical indicator is a way when we think about it, technical indicator is like a formula. A moving average is a technical indicator. It will tell kind of like the tendency of where stocks, for instance, are going. And strategies include technical indicators, and they will tell us when to get into a trade and when to get out of a trade. So we're going to be using in this class what we call, let me just put this in here, what we call SMA, which is simple moving average crossover, where we'll have two moving averages, Julia. We'll have one which we'll call a fast moving average, and the period time, Samuel, is 10 days. And the other one's called a slow moving average, and that will be 25 days. Why do they call 25 days slower? Because by the time it gets an average, it's quicker to get an average, Samuel, in 10 days than it is in 25 days. Do you see that, Aiden? So that's why they call it a fast and a slow. So before we do, and what we have, a strategy uses indicators with rules to enter and exit a strategy. Enter and exit a trade. The strategy trades for me. The computer executes the strategy. So let's start with indicators. How do I get an indicator? The way I can get an indicator, I can right click and find the word indicator, or if I wanted to, I can, this is strategies, but I want to go in an indicator, I can go to indicators. Either way, it doesn't matter. And what am I looking for? What indicators am I looking for, Jamie Oliver? One was called fast and one was called slow. What kind of indicator is it?
I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it
Okay.
up.
All right. What did we say? In this case, what did we say? We're going to have two. I'm going to have what? We're going to have what? SMA. You see that? You see that, Jamie?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So we're going to look for SMA here. You see it? I see one. I can double click or I can add it. You see the ad down here? I like to add it because that way you see what I'm clicking. And it says IBM Daily. It says 14, but what did we say one was going to be called? We said one was going to be 10. So in this case, let me move this little booger. Let me move this up here. So in this case, I want 10. And this is going to be gold, so I'm going to apply it. And I'm going to say, okay. So right now, Jamie, you see this? You see how it smooths it out? It's 10. Every 10, and it's taking 1, it's taking the average of it. So why do the people like in technical analysis? It seems to be like curving. It's not so choppy. What other one do I need, Samuel? I need another indicator.
How do you get to indicators?
Different ways. You see my black here? I can right click, or if I go to my little icons on top, you see the one that is the third to the right, to the left there. I can do either one. And what am I going to look for? I'm going to look, that was my fast. So what am I looking for again? I'm looking for the same indicator, which is called what? Jamie Oliver, what was it called?
SMA.
SMA, look at that. We're not born with it, right? SMA, I'm going to double click that, or I can add it. It says 14, but what do I want it to be? How many periods?
10.
Because I want to simulate what we were going to use before. What's going to be built in is what? 25. I'm adding this just so you can understand it. But what's the problem with this? Let me click the other one. What don't I like about this? They're the same color. So I can't tell. You see how the 25 is the same color? You see that, Jamie? I couldn't tell you what was basically, I can't differentiate between it. So I'm going to change the goldenrod here to dark turquoise. Can't you see that so much nicer? So now I know that the dark turquoise, even if I didn't know, right? If I looked at properties, I know that that's my slow, that's my 25. Now, this is the question to the class. These are two indicators, SMA, and it's called, the strategy is going to be called SMA crossover. Right now, they're indicators and they have no rules to it. So we could figure out maybe when these two, when let's say the fast crosses above the slow, maybe we'll do something. Maybe we'll go long. Or when the fast crosses below, maybe we'll go short. We'll give it, or the system will give, or what a strategy is, think about it. A strategy are a group of indicators. Maybe I should write that down, right? So when I think about that strategy, the whole idea of the strategy include that tell us, so this basically is a strategy includes rules. Some of you can think about it. It's like if then. If something, then something else is going to happen. So at this point, this will not trade for me. So what people do in trading, if they're not using strategy, sometimes they'll be just looking, oh, this is the point where I should be doing something. This is the point where I should be doing something. And you know what, Ryan? I don't want to be sitting there in front of it. And also I want to show you what automation is on how it works. So I'm just going to eliminate this right now. But everybody understand, these are indicators that will be part of my strategies. So I can just click on one of these and I'll remove it. I can click on another one and I'll remove it. And I'm now just with IBM. And guess what? I can choose if I want another company. You don't like that company, you can go back to the Dow 30 and just pick something else. Or you can even start typing in the middle. So now what I want to do is I want to pick a strategy. So where do I go? Joseph Aaron, where do I go to get strategies? One to the last one is called strategies. Or,
Yeah, I was going to say that.
good. Or I could right click and look for strategies here. Do you see that, Joseph? It doesn't matter which one I choose. Gets the
I
same.
see it.
You see it? And which one? You're on a roll now, Joseph. Which strategy did I say we're going to use for our exercise? These are built in. So which strategy should I use?
The multi-instrument?
What did we just say?
Trying to see it. The SMA crossover?
That's what we're using. We could have
Okay.
picked anything, but for our example, that's what I'm picking. Because guess what? It's a sample and it's the easiest one. And they're built in here in NinjaTrader. You see that, Audrey? We could have bought our own. We could have uploaded strategies. There's a whole bunch of them you can get on the internet. We could have created our own, but right now we're kind of like crawling. So I want to just use what's built in. You think that's the best one? Probably not. Otherwise, it's probably not the best one, but it's the simplest one. So how do I get into it? How do I add it? See on the bottom here, if I looked at it, the bottom there is going to tell me, Aiden, that I can add, or I can double click. And what does it say? Sample MA crossover. Fast is 10 periods, slow is 25. Sound familiar, Aiden? That we were talking about it, right? Now this, Audrey, is going to be so essential for you to tell everybody that once you pick a strategies, under strategies, you pick sample MA crossover. If you want it to appear on the screen, you must check enabled under properties. Little things like that are so easy to skip. And the only way I know it is because I've used it so much. So under strategies, right? Under when they're going to pick strategies, right? Make sure enable is checked. So when they come back to you, Audrey, and say, hey, I'm not getting the strategy to appear, you just say, is it enabled? And now what do I want to do? I want to apply. That's all I need to do. You can see that everything else, I can change some of these. These are a number of properties that you can change. You can see that when it's session, wait until, you can get very complicated. All we're going to do, choose right, the sample MA crossover. It has built in already 1025. Later on, we can figure out what happens, Samuel, when we do 921, right? But now we're just going to go with the defaults. We're going to apply. And it says, listen to this, Preston. It says order confirmation. Although you have order confirmation enabled, orders generated by a strategy will be submitted without confirmation. What does that mean? That means that we're using a strategy. So who is going to be executing orders? Not me, not you, Preston, but the strategy. It will trade on its own. If it's a great strategy that's working really well, we are really pleased. Tickle pink. If it's not, there's another order. So that's why it by default says not enabled. So Audrey, if somebody asks you, why was it not checked to begin with? You can tell them that, it wants to be cautious. It doesn't want, if we were hooked to to the bank account. We wouldn't want our whole, all our funds gone. So I say, okay. And now I say, okay. And now I got a bunch of stuff on the screen. So I know once I have a lot of things on the screen here, more than I had before, this tells me the blue, you see these blue arrows up, tells me that the system, had I traded this strategy for IBM for the past year, these blue up arrows tells me it's going to buy. So it basically says when the gold, I can even say when the gold, right, crosses above this green. And let me see here. See this green here? It is really doesn't stand out. So what can I do? I can change this. Notice this is the 25. This is the fast or the slow, Samuel? 25 is fast or slow?
The slow.
Beautiful. And let me change it to that turquoise. You can make changes if you want. I'm doing it. You don't have to make changes, but I'm just doing it so we can see it better. So notice when I'm going to the blue arrow, right? When the fast crosses above the slow, basically the algorithm says buy. Here too. When the fast crosses above, we say buy. Now, when it bought here, right after this, there's dotted red. Dotted red, Ryan, means I made money or I lost money. What do you think? Even though you may never have seen this program before. Dotted red.
Lost.
Lost, loser. Dotted green, everybody see kind of hazy, that dotted green I made money. So at this time, right, when it bought, it was good. Now it could have done better because it should have gotten out here. But you can kind of see it. Now if I go in the back here, right, here's another one. Did it make money or lose money, Ryan? I got in, it tells me to buy right here. Now it's what? Dotted green. It looks like it was good. But what? It got out too late. In my position, it should have gotten out here. Then later on, you change it. And in this case, it says, hey, buy. And guess what? It was a loser. It went down. Okay, so how do I tell the performance? I right click. And where should I go for, Ryan, where should I go for strategy performance? SMA crossover, beautiful. And I want to go to real time and historical. And it gives me in dollar amount, which is not good, Ryan, right? Because in dollar amount, it's hard for me to compare IBM to Microsoft or to Google. So I want to change it to percent. And this one, all overall, did it make money or lose money? Red, red,
Lost.
red. Lost, right? So I don't want to choose that. So your assignment, Ryan, and each person in the group is, at least for all trades, try to get a positive. So if IBM's not working with this, let me try another one. I'll try, and you can keep on trying, right? Till you get something that's fine. And how easy is it? I can type or I can go back to where I went before. Let me type. It loads Microsoft. Do you see it? How do I tell the performance, Ryan? I can right click, go to where, Ryan? Strategy performance, sample MSA.
And then change it to percent.
Right. And change it to percent. And it's already 7. Long trade's already 15. What were the losers? Shorts. So maybe this strategy for Microsoft at this time, this strategy would be better off if we didn't trade short. Maybe take out the shorts. You got that, Ryan? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes, sorry.
So what do I want to do now? So I have my strategy performance, And you can see here, you can do, it'll tell you the number of trades. You know, we're not going to do that now, but you can see it gives me a lot of data. Those that are in data analytics or in fintech, this is what it's going to be. And what it is this is not even using AI. Wait till it uses AI and it'll pick the strategies for me. That's really what I'm waiting for. And it'll come. And you guys, if you don't work with that AI, you'll be out of a job. I guarantee you. But the beauty is a lot of the tedious stuff it can do. And you want to make sure that will it make mistakes? Yeah. So that's what you want to do. Does it know everything that we know? No. So now what do I want to do? I want to export it to Roberto, I want to export it to Excel. How do I export it to Excel? I right click. And what should I look for?
Export.
Export. Wow, what a class, huh? Now, this is the key that you need to know. It already automatically gives me the date and the time, which is beautiful. Keep it, and now add the symbol that we picked, which was the good one. I'm going to do Microsoft. All of you are not going to do Microsoft. You'll do another one, but I'll do Microsoft. I know the all trades. I'm just going to put all was what? 7%, right? And then I'll put after that, and then I want to even before that, you know what I want to do? Even after the all trades, I want to put SMA 1025. Because guess what? We're going to try other ones later on in our spreadsheet. So we know that what strategy we use. So the symbol, the strategy, the performance overall, and your name. And copy this to the clipboard. And save it. And what do you think is going to happen, Jonah? We exported it to Excel. So I should see Excel. Yeah. Because where is this Excel coming from, Jonah? It's coming from the virtual machine. Not from your machine, but the virtual machine. And the one thing that you'll need to do then is you'll insert a row. You'll paste your name, NinjaTrader, the date, the MST, and then you'll change the sheet name. You'll rename with, we know that I put it in Microsoft and the overall, which is 7, it really is 7.21%. And then I know, and then what I'll do is I'll even highlight it to make sure that I know it's in percent. If you don't have it in percent, it will be wrong, right? Because Julia, you can't compare. If you take IBM and I said, what did you get? You get $400. I said, how can you compare one for the other? So it's 7.2%, and I know that this is a loser. Now I go File, and I can save as, and you can save it to the desktop of the virtual machine and then take it, or you can even go to OneDrive from the University of Miami. You have your OneDrive. Here it's s.rushanek, but you could do your desktop. You can do wherever you want. And then you upload it, right? Just like we've done for other things. I'm going to do it to the current desktop. It's the name here. It says save. It says, hey, you got already existed it because I did it already, but we got it. Beautiful, huh? Easy when you know it. So if you did it The only thing that it would take time for, you can see the parts that it would take time for is getting it to be the best it could. So you can play around with this. So I can even close this strategy performance right now. And you see this MSFT? I can change it. Let me change it in this case. Let me change it to Adobe. Will it change? Automatically, and I don't even have to do the strategy again. And then I can do the performance, see how, see if Adobe did it. Go to strategy performance, go hit real time and historical. And I said, that's even worse. You see, I don't want to use that. I don't even want to change it to percent, though I always will. But I see red is not good.
Thank you so much.
Did it work okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to, okay. Somebody, you want to mic, shut their mic off. Can you be so kind? They don't realize their mic is on. Okay. Any questions on that? So now I know I have my chart and a couple of other things to get excited about. I'm kind of weird, I get excited over stuff that maybe normal people don't. But what I can do at this point is look at this. Jamie, look at this, Oliver. I'm going to go to New Ninja Script Editor. And under Ninja Script Editor, I want to look at the code of my strategy. So where should I go? Strategies. What strategy should I choose that we just did? Sample MA crossover. This is the code. This is so small. I want to go to properties. I have here my text editor. I'm going to make my text edit. I want to go down. I don't want 13 point. Let's go down to, let's go to even 40 point. Apply. Okay. So they call two variables, one called fast and one called slow, which we know we talked about. This is what we need to know. Samuel, do you know any programming?
Not at all.
Good, perfect. We rehearsed it. Look at this. These are the only codes as you as the auditor would have to know. And the beauty here is you would use AI and AI would tell you what all of this means, right? As the auditor, but I'm just telling you, this is written in C#, but it says if, right, the SMA fast crosses above the enter long, I'm going to enter long. If the fast crosses above the slow, what are we going to do? What does the strategy say? Enter long. What does enter long mean? Buy it. Else if the fast crosses below the slow, what should we do? What should we do, Samuel?
Can you come back to me?
Yes. If the SMA fast crosses below the SMA slow, what does the source code say to do? Enter short. What does enter short mean? Bet that the stock is going down. These 4 lines, and if we didn't like our shorts in our strategy, Ryan, what should we do? Remove these 2 lines. So you would tell Samuel, you would tell the programmer, get rid of those 2 lines. You wouldn't have to do it. Or later on, you would tell what? You would tell the AI to do it. That's it. And then once you finish, you would close out the NinjaTrader. And it says, do you want to save the workspace? I say no. I'm where right now? Audria, I'm where? I'm still in the virtual desktop. I've saved it. I've saved it to my OneDrive. I put it into my email. I've done a number of things that I saved it because you need to upload it to your audit area. And now I'm still in the Windows. The best thing is get used to it. The virtual, I'm going to go to power and I'm going to go to disconnect. And I'm out. And I'm stop sharing. And that's it. Questions?
I have a question.
Sure, Jericho.
Will we have like a formal review before the midterm or
Yeah.
the first test? All right.
For sure. We'll take a whole class. And we'll go over and I'll give you a handout of kind of like the topic because there's so much, Jericho. Right? Doesn't it make sense? If you work on it and you study, you'll do well. If you slack, it will show. You know, and there's two parts. One part will be multiple choice, very similar to the quizzes, and the other part will be open-ended questions, like I was talking about today. Show me automated trading system, show me example of a strategy, show me example of a rule, right, of what you've done. So if you've done the exercises rather than just copying somebody's, and Audrey, so you know, in your group, you kind of know what you've done, right? You should do well. But if you decide, hey, I don't want to do those exercises, that's up to you, right? Everybody has a choice. You probably won't do well on the second part because you have to show examples of what you've done in the exercises. That's all. And the questions, when you're asking that, Jericho, is the idea that I'll give you like 4 open-ended questions ahead of time, and then I'll choose 2 of those. Because it's like, what can she ask? It's so much, you know what I mean? I think it's only fair. I took a course like that one time, and I thought that was great. They gave, you know, the questions, so I could spend hours knowing those questions, but I could feel rest assured that it's what I studied. Rather, have you ever been in that? If I knew I would have studied that had I known it'd be on the test. That's how I wanted to do. But if you don't do the work in here, you know, you'll get a 0. So, okay, what else? Anything else I need to do? And I need to just take, where's everybody's cameras here? They've left us. Those that are showing cameras coming up. Everybody looks good in the beginning. At the end, they die down, huh? Take naps. I wish I could, you know. But anyways, so you just wake me up, Audrey, if I kind of sleep a little bit, you can do that. Okay. So we don't have anybody. Okay. So let's share attendance. I'll stay with you if you have questions. Otherwise, what I suggest, everybody, do it. Do the assignments right. Oh, one other thing here is, Spencer, did you add that as an assignment, Spencer?
Yeah, it's all set.
Let me share my screen. Let's look at it before we go to it. Okay, I don't want to cancel. Let me leave this. Okay, so I'm in J. I'm in what's due. And let's see here. Did you put it in order? Is this at the 28th? Perfect. Okay, so does everybody see this? Thank you so much, Spencer. Everybody see this that due Wednesday? I suggest you do all this. You have I'm recording so you can review. Audrey, you can put in the chat that everybody can review if they want to, the recording. But you see here, you have the strategy back test exercise and a PDF exercise and what it's supposed to look like, and you can go to see Spencer and Dylan's audit area to have that. And it should be in the same format. If it's not in the same format, you get points taken off. Okay, so let's do attendance. Thank you so much, Spencer. And Spencer, can you check just to see the next section if it was done too?
Yeah, I
Check.
can do that.
Yeah, let me just do check-in here. Hold on. Is this it? Check-in is currently running. Is this correct? Is this working, guys? Or do I need to do another one? Is the attendance
That
working?
works.
Okay, perfect. Stay with me if you have other exercises. Audrey, thank you so much again for being part of the group here. We work together.
It's
Any
not
help
working
that
for
I can
me.
get?
Professor,
Yes.
yeah, it didn't go through.
It didn't go through for anyone?
That didn't work for me.
Okay, let me just see. And check in. Let me try again. Let's start checking. Let's see. Try this.
Yeah, that worked.
Okay, good. Sometimes, you know, they put in and it's like, if I don't do it again, it doesn't work. All these little quirks, right? Beyond our control, but we that's why we want to check each other, right? Some things it's your role, right, to take attendance. You know, I take the attendance, you have to respond. Okay. Stay with me if you have questions.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Bye-bye. Spencer, just stay with me. Okay, I can end this, right? 9843. Right? Or I can stop sharing. Let me stop. Let me go to my YouTube. Let me stop